Mike Gamble, been in the games industry 30 plus years, and the first game I ever worked on, the first serious game I ever worked on, was Drowned God. Back in 1995 at a studio in Brighton called Epic, not to be confused with the Fortnite Epic. This was Eric Parsons' interactive company, and I was involved in some of the pre-production and early level design, along with Christian Canton and Anthony McGraw. And during that time, got to know Algie Williams and Alistair Graham quite well, and had fairly limited contact with the main designer, Harry Horse. Over the intervening years, I've stayed friends and in contact with Algie and Alistair. And then middle of last year, we saw a pirate copy of Drowned God was available on Steam. So I talked to Algie and Alistair and suggested that we look at re-releasing the game via Next Path Media, a company I formed with a bunch of friends, ex-Talent House and ex-Epic people. And we all agreed that might be a good idea, but we decided that we needed to look at the game and see what additional value we could add to it rather than just release the game as it was. So we've worked closely with Emma and Kay, Harry Horse's sisters, the estate, Harry Horse's estate, and collated a whole bunch of additional materials, artwork, pitch documents, etc. And upgraded the game in terms of the platforms it runs on. So it will run on modern Windows systems and are ready to launch. So the re-released version of the game has been marginally re-engineered so that it works on Windows 11, Windows 10, etc. The game itself is completely unchanged from the original version. So we've not up-resed graphics, we've not changed the gameplay in any way, shape or form. All we've done is make it run from a hard drive. So if it asks for a disk, you just press OK and it carries on. And obviously patched it so that none of the original issues now mar the experience of playing the game. And then we've included kind of like a DVD extras file. And in that we have a bunch of really interesting documents. We have the Diary of a Plagiarist, which was a document created by Harry Horse way before Drowned God, detailing his efforts to forge and sell a series of documents from an 18th century antiquarian, I suppose, for want of a better word. And by reading through this diary, which is Harry's genuine diary, but written in a very archaic way with loads of sketches and drawings, you can see the very beginnings of what would become Drowned God. We also have the original pitch document that was made to Epic and Time Warner to commission the game. That in itself is a pretty rare piece of work, because pitch documents don't generally survive and very rarely make it into the public domain. And that's fascinating because it shows the sort of breadth of the original vision, and then compared to the final game, it shows where the compromises had to be made to achieve something of the vision. Interestingly, I think you could build the game now using real-time engines and fulfill the original vision of the pitch document. We also then have an art book that's been collated by Alistair Graham, one of the principal artists, or the principal artist apart from Harry, which talks about Harry's art style, how it evolved, how Drowned God made use of different art styles. We have the original instruction booklet. These are obviously all digital, which is absolutely essential because the game itself offers no clue as to how you play it. It's a Myst style game, so it's point and click, but it doesn't really tell you anything about what you're supposed to be doing and how you interact, which again is very mid-90s. So the original instruction booklet is essential. And then we have a gameplay walkthrough, which will certainly help anyone who's trying to get from start to finish, because the game itself is very, very hard. It's fascinating, but it's not a game you would get made now. Gameplay styles and the kind of the tropes and the way you build games now, it would just never fly as it is. Are integrated into this version of the game. So it should play absolutely fine start to finish. I've played it start to finish a couple of times, and none of those original issues and glitches that cropped up are in there. So the patches obviously work. So the game itself is unchanged. We haven't meddled with or added any additional content to the game itself. A couple of reasons for this. Principally, it would have been very, very difficult because of the source code for the game has been completely lost. We worked with a very talented team called FSTR, Ukrainian engineers based out of Moldova now, who kind of reverse engineered a bunch of stuff for us within the game, but we were limited as to what we could actually do to change the core game. But also, it's with games like Drowned God, it's very, very important that we preserve the games as they were. Video game preservation is something of a problem. We're losing more and more of the games from the early history of video game development because platforms don't run them or they've been changed and upgraded. So part of our mission with Drowned God was to preserve the game as it was when it was launched back in 1996. Accessibility is tricky, and graphically we haven't polished it up. Having said that, having played it through on a modern laptop with a decent screen and speakers, I didn't experience quite the same level of difficulty hearing some of the spoken word as I did with the first run through 25 years ago. The game is going to be available on the Epic Games Store on the 14th of this month, 14th of June 2024. It's available to wishlist on there at the moment. Unsurprisingly, it's on Epic Store for a number of reasons. One being I used to work at Epic, so I have an affinity for them. We are looking at taking it over to GOG and Steam in due course. So included in the game is a bunch of extras, kind of like DVD extras, making of type materials. There, we have the Diary of a Plagiarist, which is a document created by Harry Horse very, very, very early and does show the beginning of Drowned God. We have a Drowned God art book, which talks about Harry's style, Alistair's style, and the style of Drowned God generally. That includes new art as well in the style of, and includes images that have never been seen before publicly. We have the original electronic press pack video, which is fascinating again from a video development perspective because it's an insight into games development in the mid-90s and an opportunity to spot the famous face, answers on a postcard, and you might win a discount on a t-shirt. It has the original instruction booklet, which is essential for playing the game, and a walkthrough of the game to help you if you get stuck, which is very easy to do. Talking of t-shirts, we've developed a merchandise store using imagery from throughout the game, Harry Horse's imagery, Alistair Graham's imagery, and some new generated imagery and unseen imagery from the archives. We have a Shopify store. It's available via our website, and you can also buy a shower curtain should you need one.